Hey y'all, it's Anime K-Man, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 5th episode of Kemurikusa. And while this episode wasn't bombastic or epic like the previous episode where they were fighting like the gigantic Ninushu, I like how at the very least we get some more characterization for some of the neglected characters like Ritsuo, because we never really got to see much of her insight. And it was nice to hear the reasons why she can't fight, because she's constantly using her energy to like help Midori grow, and that's why she doesn't have much offensive capabilities. And I like how it actually gives us insight into her psyche, because she even mentions how she's sad that she can't fight, and then she always tries her best to grow Midori though, to try to make her useful. And it was nice to see the sisters comfort her. That was really, really sweet. It helped make the family dynamic feel much more powerful between Ritsuo, Rin, and the Rinas. So that was a positive angle about this episode. It gave us characterization for Ritsuo, and simultaneously gave us a bit of character development for her, because it gave her a bit more self-confidence. So that was a nice element from the episode, because before this we really didn't have much of an idea about Ritsuo's personality, other than she's the cool type, but that's about it. So that was a plus. And I'd say from a story standpoint, it was pretty nice. At least we got to find out that the green leaves don't just help heal out Wakaba whenever he's hurt, or the green stuff. It can actually be useful towards fixing things. Like it fixed up this pole-looking thing, and then it fixed up the car compartment where the tires were put in their little bus too, which was also a nice element, because for one, it makes Wakaba useful because he's the one that actually figured that out. And two, I kind of like that element because for one, not only does it make Wakaba useful, but it also comes in with an explanation as to why the girls didn't try that before, because usually they don't have much of the water resource, so they either don't have enough time to experiment with that, or they just don't really have enough time to like experiment with the leaves and all that, like Wakaba's been able to do at times. So I kind of like that. That's another interesting angle about this episode, because the sisters are usually just worrying about survival. So I like that. It shows off Wakaba's intuitiveness, and it makes him even much more plot relevant too. So that's another good element about this episode, because if there's anything this anime's done well, it's find ways of making Wakaba useful. Because when he was first shown off in the episode, I was actually worried that he might be an hindrance towards the main cast, but he's actually the opposite. He's pretty useful in the narrative, and that's just through his curiosity. So I like that. It makes Wakaba into a fun character to follow. And then aside from that, I also like how in this episode you actually do have some character progression with Rin, that she's actually warming up towards Wakaba a bit more, because even though it was subtle near the end when they were actually going to the cave and the Rinas were gonna fall asleep, and then Rin's like, I'll keep an eye on you, but then the next scene she just fucking falls asleep. And I like that little subtle hint there that Rin at this point is really comfortable with Wakaba, because even though Rin says things that would imply that she isn't comfortable with Wakaba, her actions are like something else entirely, because for her to sleep while all the other Rinas are asleep, and then Wakaba's awake, shows off that at the very least Rin she feels at least a bit of comfort that Wakaba's there, even though Rin says otherwise. So I kind of like that. More character progression for Rin's character. And then I like the way you have Lorina's joke around with Wakaba, saying shit like, you're a Kemurikusa maniac, or you're addicted to this shit. And that was also nice to see them jab Wakaba too in that way. That was pretty sweet. So all in all, these are some pretty nice elements about this episode from a character standpoint for those reasons. And then I like the way it ends up with the cliffhanger with Wakaba meeting another reddish human too. So that could lead to some interesting character interactions for next week. So I'd say for these reasons that I've mentioned below are the reasons why the story and the character from those standpoints this episode succeeded. It gave us more intrigue, it made the characters useful, it gave us insight on characters like Ritsuo, and that's why I felt it really did good from that standpoint. Art and animation were good, gotta say. There wasn't a single scene where I thought the CG looked like crap, and the backgrounds looked great. Some of them were actually breathtaking and looked straight up hand-drawn. That's how good they looked. Well rendered, and the sound was great, I gotta say, because all the voice cast did their job, and the soundtrack was pretty pleasant, and it felt ominous when it had to. And that's why, taking all these factors into consideration, I'd say this episode's above average, and I'm going to rate it 7 out of 10. Wasn't super epic like last week, but I'm not really the type to be like, man, I want every single episode to be super fucking epic. I think episodes like this are important. It gives us a nice breather episode, and it got us to know more about some of the other characters like Ritsuo, and it just helped develop their dynamics more. And I'd say that's about as much as you can ask from a transitory episode like this. Now, hopefully, that new red human character introduced can give us some even more interesting dynamics. Yeah, I can't wait. And this episode also brings up a few good questions like, why is the red fog expanding to areas where it wasn't there before? That's really, really, really nice. So, yeah, that's why I really like this episode. So anyways, guys and gals, these are my thoughts on the episode. Comment on your thoughts on the episode below in the comment section. Rate the video, subscribe if you want to see more reviews and reactions, and I'll see you guys later if you subscribe for more. Alright, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys later if you subscribe for more, because I'm definitely pumped up for next week. Bye-bye.